Hey guys, welcome back to our Channel 7 News Town Hall meetings. Today we're talking with our sports guy, Charlie Black, reporter Sydney Gilchrist, and kind of behind the scenes, jack of all trades guy, Kobe Campbell, who you also know from Are You Serious? In our previous two installments, we talked to some of the seniors about having their last 2 months of their senior year taken away. And then last week we discussed how online schooling is going and how that's so much different than being in person. And today we're going to talk about kind of the emotional aspect that this quarantine has the toll it's taken on people, and especially with high school students. So, Charlie Black, I'll ask you the question first. How have you, outside of school, kind of managed your time? Has it been difficult to stay busy during this time when you have nothing really else to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that factor of, staying up too late, not getting up the time you want to, and a lot of stuff you really can't do. I mean, you can't see your friends, hang out with them, and obviously sports is a big factor of passing time for me, and which is taken away. So I've been trying to kind of stay busy, doing stuff that kind of makes me happy, so I don't really go insane. Because I mean, obviously, just staying in here is not the most fun thing to do. But I'm blessed to have some land, and so I can go run around, build forts, stuff like that. I draw a little bit, just stuff to pass time and kind of be productive in some kind of way, so
Yeah,
I don't end up just getting unproductive and boring.
sure, sure. Sydney Gilchrist, how about you?
I've been kind of just doing a lot of yard work and helping my mom out a lot with my sister, and I've been painting and watching a lot of Netflix.
So I think it's pretty much what everybody's trying to do. Just find things that, I mean, if it's Netflix or it's Hulu, whatever, just find things that keep your mind occupied, because I feel like you look at the clock and you think 3 hours have passed by and it's been 3 minutes. It goes by so slow.
Yeah.
Kobe, I've talked to you a little bit about what you've been doing to stay busy. I guess my question ties in more to the emotional side. And I think that's something that people overlook with this stay-at-home order is that, yeah, you don't get to go to school and be with your friends. And yeah, we want people to stay healthy and not get COVID-19, but there's also the emotional side of it and keeping yourself sane. Have you struggled with that at all?
I definitely have. I think it's more comes from a place of the more of like emotional side because I really don't like go out and do stuff anyways. Like I'm more of a homebody. I usually just sit in this room anyways and watch something and play 2K. But the more emotional side has come from the sports and just like not being able to compete with other people or anything. Because even in, I mean, weights and stuff, like where I'm like in like our lives, we're constantly competing, and it's like I don't know where to get that fill because I'm sitting at home. And the closest thing I can get to competition right now is going online and playing somebody on 2K, and that's just like it doesn't feel like right. So, I mean, from a sports standpoint, that's definitely where the most like emotional issues I have with it is.
Okay, Charlie, let's look ahead and I don't want to paint a negative picture, but let's just do it for the sake of doing it and see how your answer to this would be. Okay, it's August, and the governor has said, you know what, getting back in these large groups of 400 people at our school is not the right thing to do. How would you handle that from an emotional perspective?
Obviously, it would really hurt like in the first couple months, I think, until I get adapted to it. I think the main thing would just be finding something other than sports and friends to occupy myself. So maybe start like a big project or something that just takes my mind off it and distracts me, which everybody can find something to do. I mean, there's other stuff to do than watch TV all day. Because you do that, you're gonna get bored really quick. So
Yeah.
just finding something other than sports and stuff like that to consume my time and occupy myself and be productive in some kind of way.
Right. Sydney, I know that this conversation has come up a lot on social media recently with anxiety and the mental health aspect of this. I'm not saying I never thought it was real, because I always did, but I think I've uh, gained a greater appreciation and sympathy for it during this time. Do you think if in the event we don't go back to school, which that is the worst case scenario, how much will anxiety and depression increase? And I know that there's friends in your life, you've talked to me about this before, that struggle with this. How much of a big deal is that going to be if we don't go back to school?
Well, I feel like for school, it's kind of a safe place for some people that like they go to their home and they have like abuse and stuff like that in their family or like neglect. And so having that school life is kind of like very important to them. And I feel like it would probably be very hard for those people to have to kind of stay to themselves or like figure out a way to have a life without school.
Right. And I think when people think of this pandemic, I mean, the first thought is always looking at the statistics of, how many people have been infected, how many people have died, how many people have recovered. And those are all very valid, don't get me wrong. But I think when we look back on this, weeks, months, years from now, we'll see that there was maybe a growing increase of mental health and suicides and suicide attempts, things that you don't maybe are on the front lines of this. Even like I read somewhere that domestic abuse is up significantly across our country because of this. So that's what worries me a lot about if we don't go back to school. What's going to happen to those people who struggle with these things, and that's a very real concern. Kobe, for you, it's a little different because you're now done with high school. You're going after college. You're going to play basketball. And I know basketball has been a significant part of your life for a long time. And, I guess there is a chance because, some of these big areas, not so much Kansas, but bigger areas might not have college sports. And how would that make you feel for losing something that you've been working on your entire life to not have that, especially in your first year?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you how I would feel until it actually happened. I don't even like to really think about how I would feel if it happened because I just can't imagine how I'd be feeling. Because it's something that you kind of looked forward to for so long, and I already had one thing. Not just me, but we all have had things taken from us. But something that's so important to me that I worked hard for, getting to state, and then actually winning a game, and then having it taken from you. And then for like the next most important thing that I really care about to get taken from me right before I even start, I honestly I don't know how I would feel, and I don't even like to think about it. But
Well, I don't blame you at all. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. I always love getting insights from high schoolers. I mean, I'm here with my wife's working at home, and I have two small kids to get the perspective of teenagers in this time. I think it's very important. And I really appreciate your time here. We'll do this next week with a new topic. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
All right, good talking to you. Thank you.